to proceed towards the boardroom. We'll ask you as we proceed to join us back. Alright, so do we have the changer? Okay, here we go. Alright, so for the audience, here are the rules for the very first round, which is the presentation round. So each team will be required to give a presentation of maximum 10 minutes. A warning bell will be rung at 8 minutes, followed by the final bell after 10 minutes. 2 minutes will then be utilized by the esteemed jury to ask questions from the team. Right? Maximum score for this round will be 30 points. All presentations will be evaluated by our respected judges, on my right, according to a predefined criteria. Only the team presenting will remain inside the hall, as you can see, while other teams will wait in the designated area, which is the boardroom right next to it. No change will be allowed in the presentation already submitted. The team leader may give the presentation on his own or may jointly present along with other team members. All team members should, however, remain on stage during the presentation. Right? So any questions, team CTC? All good? You need the mic? So can we have the mics for the team? Alright, it's not necessary to take the dice, so you can take the floor, you can take the entire hall, you can take me as well. Right, so let's start. So any questions that you have before we proceed? Dan, there's a timer at the top. So team CDC, you're Yasin, right? Yasin and the team. There's a timer at the top. We'll start at the count of 4 right now, and then there's a countdown of 10 minutes, which is the presentation that we're talking about. The last 2 minutes of those 10 minutes will be for question and answers. Right? Start with this. Sounds pretty exciting. Just to give you a brief about this, ये जितने भी लोग अभी present करेंगे, the teams that they're presenting, this is based on a case study. This was given to them in advance. And they have prepared this, their thoughts on this. It's precisely a pricing strategy case study of a cinema theatre, and based on that they will be giving their different individual opinions on the pricing strategy that they recommend or they would like to project it. Right? So with that, the floor is over to you. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum to all. Muhammad Yasin Yunus, representing Team CDC, with my colleagues Mohil Ali Khan and Mustafa Farooq. First of all, I would like to welcome all our board members, including our executives, non-executives, and independent directors. We are glad to give this presentation in front of such a huge board. Now, coming towards our topic. Our topic is to give pricing study of our new theatre, Science City, who has just entered into the market with some lavish facilities, having more than 30 stages on which the number of musical and other plays of the renowned writers would be presented for public enjoyment. Our presentation would be consist on following contents. First of all, we discuss about the objectives, then market competitors. There are around 7 competitors in the market having multiple pricing strategies. Then we will have some look at SWOT analysis, and at last we will propose our pricing strategy to the board for their approval with the conclusion. Now, objective. Like any other investment, we also have an objective to maximize our revenue, but by grabbing all possible opportunities available in the market. But at the same time, we are having the challenge of filling our empty seats with diversified people. For that, we need to have a balancing pricing strategy so that our theatres, our shows, our plays should be accessible to everyone, every people. Now, we are coming towards the market competitors and their strategy, and I would like to invite my colleague Mohil Ali Khan, who is also a market manager research. He will gonna explain this.
Respected board member, I would like to brief you about the marketing strategies as currently following by our competitors. Sin City currently has 7 competitors. Let me start with the Atlantis Alliance Theatre. They are following demand-based pricing strategy. Higher the demand of their product goes, higher will be the price. Then we have La Jolla Playhouse. They are following product form pricing. Better the quality of their product, better will be the prices. Then we have Center Theatre Group. Center Theatre Group has 3 strategies for each of its stage. For large stage, they have multiple pricing. They vary the price based on the location of the seat. Then they have middle side, where they focus more on the subscription rather than the single ticket. Then they have a small side where they charge a fixed fees. Then we have Actors Theatre. Actors Theatre has a strategy of meeting consumers' behavior. They have multiple prices and they ensure that all their shows remain accessible to all the audience. Next. Then we have Buster's Rap. Berkeley's strategy is to maximize their attendance. They carefully analyze what customers are willing to pay, and yet they ensure that maximum get chance to get into the theatre. Then we have Start Food Festival. Start Food Festival uses a combination of predictive modeling and yield management. They use predictive modeling to determine their occupancy rate, and then they use yield management to determine overall prices. Then we have New York's Signature Cafe, New York Signature Theatre, whose strategy is pricing for X. They charge single prices for all of their show. Now I would like to invite Mr. Mustafa to brief you on the SWOT analysis.
Hello. Today I'll brief the study management have made to identify the internal strength, weaknesses as well as external opportunities and threats of the Science City project. Talking about the strength of the project, Science City has the most lavish, advanced and grand theatre along with a combined corporate structure to attract their customers. Moreover, Science City have a state-of-the-art technological infrastructure and broad spectrum for generic performances. Now, highlighting toward the weaknesses of our project, we are new in the market. However, we'll consider our weakness and we do not have any relations with our customers previously. However, we're going to take our weakness as an area of opportunity which can be cope up with our effective pricing strategy. Coming toward the opportunities, new competitor will enter in the market in the next 3 years. That means we can cope up our strategy and get our business objectives accordingly. Moreover, the pricing strategy and the data available of competitors will also going to help us out in determining our effective pricing strategy with multiple variation and mix, which will going to bring a win-win situation for us. However, our team must be predictive enough to cope up the market penetration and capitalization using our strength that will help us out in achieving objective. How the competitor is going to get the business accordingly. Over to you, Yasin.
Thank you, Mustafa and Muhit. Now we are presenting our pricing strategy for the approval of the board with the hope that this pricing strategy will help the theatre to achieve their required objective with defined resources. Science City need to follow the multiple pricing structure because each show has its own audience based on the production attractiveness, play, demand, market trend. Keeping in view of this, now let's discuss the model in detail. The first component is base price. Base price is actually the average price which will be derived by adding the total budgeted cost with margin of profit as per the required retain along with the occupancy rate. Now coming towards, in order to have the maximum revenue and occupancy, we need to predict the population in our show as per the past pattern of the similar show already employed by the competitor. For this, predictive modeling is very useful in determining that what number of tickets the customers is willing to pay, how they will react to the show, what the price they are willing to pay based on the production attractiveness, based on the show's demand in the market and all these things. Predictive modeling is also useful to build the customer profile, customer segmentation, prediction of the customer demand. Now price for specific show. Price should be different for the single ticket as well as for the subscription. I price also based on the seat type, location and all these things. We should have at least 3 categories: gold, silver and platinum. Yield modeling. Yield management. Yield management is a very effective technique, and nowadays you know that most of the traveling companies are also, airline companies are also being employed by this. Like they charge you the lower cost if you purchase the ticket earlier. Yield management basically anticipate the customer's behavior based on the management can up or adjust their prices accordingly. Like you are having a show which having a high demand, you can have a different pricing. The show which are having a lower demand, you can have a different pricing. Predictive modeling is a continuing process and should be conducted for each show in order to have a better pricing. Predictive modeling basically employed by receiving the regular feedback of your audience from your sales staff. You need to also observe the customer's preference for particular seats, particular location, particular types and all these things. Now, premium and discounting policy. This is a very important one because you need to maximize revenue and also need the diversified people in your hall. So you need to, front seats are always high demanding. You can charge premium on it. Similarly, proven product already known to the public, have a different pricing. At the same time, you have a discounting policy. Online subscriber at excincity.com can obtain the discount. You can build an agreement with your alliances with the bank cellular service, can give special discount. Further, you have the special discounting policy for the students, for the seniors, member of the military, and all these things. With this, we are concluding our presentation with the message that customers are always willing to pay high prices for the high product. So we need to focus more on the quality of production. With this, we are submitting our presentation to the board for their approval and further plan. Thank you.
Thank you, team. Good presentation. But tell me something that you have not substantiated any numbers with your arguments. Nothing in support. Why is that?
We did a number of brainstorming on this thing. Okay? Either we need to present some numbers on it or not. But the topic of the presentation was to give the pricing strategy. So you can say that we assumed that all the financial feasibilities has already been submitted, and we are now just moving towards the pricing strategy, how we are going to price our particular show and all these things. And regarding about the case study which was also submitted to us, on which there was a numbers, but on the balance sheet, like the price differences was so huge. Some were charging $15, some were charging $125. So we thought that we should not go on to this and just keep it on simple and must focus on the pricing strategy.
Well, fine. As board member, I would like to see some bottom line as to...
We asked for the approval of the board. Actually, we asked for the approval for the board so that we can devise the pricing strategy. If you go back to this slide. Okay. Here we are required board's approval so that management could finalize the pricing structure. The idea was that we first obtain the approval for the pricing strategy, then go for the numbers.
My question is that I'm the board member now.
Yes, sir.
What specific approval that have you submitted that you want me to do? I thought that you have given generic policy, various pricing mechanisms that are available. But what is so specific about this team? What is that you want me to approve?
So
Is there something? I mean, there are so many models you have submitted. But is there anything specific that you want the board to approve?
So we presented our model like this one.
Alright, so time's up.
For which we need the approval that how our price will be determined from the first one until how we can going to have a premium and discount on the customers. So this was our model.
Alright, thank you, respected jury. So we'd like to move on to the next presentation. So thank you so much. Ushers, may we request them? Let's have them out. Alright, so now let's move on to the second presentation. And for that we have the second team, which is Gadoon Textile Mills. And here we are, Mohammad Kashif, Yasir Yameen and Sabir Zubair. Alright, on the floor. Team Gadoon. Alright, so take positions. Here we are. The time starts now.
Respected members of the board, our presentation today focuses on the possible pricing strategies to be considered by the board. We have designed the possible pricing strategies keeping in view the following objectives. Our objective is to generate revenue while not compromising on the turnout and maintenance of audience diversity. Dear members, the industry in discussion is of different nature. The dynamics of this industry are particularly different from other businesses. The business consists of various factors to be considered, not only limited to price. For example, a person may be willing to pay as much as possible for an awesome performance in the theatre, which is although subject to availability of his leisure time. During our research, we observed that different prices have been charged for different performances. They varied significantly. Some of the competitors have used the annual subscription model, which is on a declining trend, while some have used the rush pricing model. That is, they are actually giving discounts to the people who are coming late. this discourages the loyalty of long associated audience. Other theatres have also offered discounts on the basis of demographics, while some have also experimented rather, the scaled house pricing model. Dear members, it is not an easy task to decide on a particular pricing strategy. It is rightly said, the moment you make a mistake in pricing, you are eating into your reputation or your profits. Famously said by Catherine Payne. So, what could be the possible pricing strategies? Out of all the pricing strategies available, our presentation only covers the most relevant pricing strategies which are to be considered by the board. One of the possible strategies could be the market penetration strategy. Under such a strategy, ticket prices are charged lower in order to attract mass audience. However, this strategy may only be viable may not be viable in the longer term, since margins are kept at a minimum level. Another strategy could be the price discrimination strategy. Price discrimination strategy involves charging different prices from different class of customers. For example, second degree price discrimination would involve giving discounts on ticket prices to those customers who order tickets in bulk. Whereas in third degree price discrimination, customers are offered different prices based on their age probably, their class of group they belong to, their gender. This is price discrimination. Another type of strategy could be the target pricing model. The target pricing model is actually opposite to market penetration strategy. Under such a strategy, prices are set in order to achieve own target profits. Such prices are set while ignoring market dynamics and may be unrealistic. Therefore, the customers may only be attracted to such prices if the service being offered to them has the wow factor. Please note that such a strategy may not be suitable for a longer term. It can only be viable in the short term. So, how do you decide actually what is the best strategy? I'll end my part of the presentation by saying the right mix of strategies should be used. I'll hand over to Kashif.